Welcome to the Watchers Podcast. It's your boy Royce the Drift Hardwick. Today we got a lot to tackle, guys. So it's gonna be a bumpy one. So strap in and get your snacks ready because it's crazy out here. We're gonna touch on what Lindsey Graham had the nerve to do with Herschel Walker this past week, and we're gonna talk about some political violence. And it's sad to see. And we're gonna hit up on those midterms. So when we get back, we're gonna dive right into it, y'all. Keep it locked. It's the Watchers Podcast.
Generations of Americans have responded with a simple creed that sums up the spirit of a people. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
And welcome back to the Watchers Podcast. It's your boy Royce the Drift Hardwick. Every time I hear that part of that speech from Obama where the entire crowd just started chanting together, yes, we can, it reminds me of a time when there was some type of unity amongst the country. It brought me back a little nostalgic feel, the little bit better times when everybody was, not hating each other as hard as they are now. But welcome back to the Watchers Podcast. And before we left off, we were talking about Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham he's a politician. He's in the Senate, and he's been doing some real questionable things lately when it comes to his political endorsement of Herschel Walker. Anybody who doesn't know, Herschel Walker is running for Senate against Raphael Warnock in Georgia, and this race is extremely important. And I need as many Democrats, left-leaning people to get out there in Georgia and vote. Because this election is extremely important, especially with these Senate seats, because the Senate is tight and you need to flip seats in the Senate in order to get bills passed. But what Lindsey Graham did this past week was he brought Herschel Walker on national TV and sat him next to him as if he was a prop, and then began to speak on how having a black man is what the Republicans really are using Herschel Walker for, to try to get black voters. I mean, everybody knows that's the plan or that's the play, but for Lindsey Graham to come out there and the way he did it was just disgusting. I have the clip here. So let's just check out this clip and come back and talk about it, because it was just outrageous what this man said.
What is it about this guy? He changes the entire narrative of the left. We're a party of racists, Sean. Me and you're a racist. The Republican Party's racist. Well, what happens when the Republican Party elects and nominates Herschel Walker, an African-American black Heisman Trophy winner, right? Olympian? It destroys the whole narrative. They're scared to death of Herschel Walker, because if Herschel Walker becomes a Republican, maybe every other young child in America of color might want to be a Republican.
Well, Lindsey Graham, if Herschel Walker is the role model for these young black children to want to become Republican, you got the wrong guy. Look, the left isn't afraid of Herschel Walker because he's black and he's going to convert young men and women of color into the Republican Party. Nah, dog. We don't F with Herschel Walker because he's a garbage politician and he's extremely underqualified for the job. I mean, you guys go in on Fetterman, but that man had a stroke. All right? Herschel Walker, he also has a health problem. He had that dissociative identity disorder or whatever it was. But for the Republicans to ignore the fact that Herschel Walker had these health issues and then actually sit on Fetterman's back about having a stroke, it just goes to show how inconsistent and hypocritical this group in the GOP really is. Now, it's not just that, Herschel Walker had that issue. I'm not stigmatizing mental health issues by any stretch of the means, because I suffer with it myself. Now, you can't come out here and sit there and say, I'm against abortions, I'm against this, I'm against that, and then not live what you preach, especially as a politician. Now, all the dirty drawers going to get stuck on the curb. Everybody's going to know what you've been doing, what you done did. What we got a problem with Herschel Walker is not even that he paid for abortions. Our problem is you pay for these abortions, right? Cool. But now you're making it to where nobody else can exercise that same freedom that you did. That type of hypocrisy don't fly with us at the Watchers Podcast, and we're going to call it out every time. I got more about Lindsey Graham that I want to say, but it's not for this episode. But you're going to get your own shake because it's the midterm, so you ain't in it. But Herschel Walker, like, man, I compiled a list of policy stances that Herschel Walker and Raphael Warnock had given us as far as their debate goes. And as far as the individual substance of their policy arguments, Herschel Walker is not in the same class with Raphael Warnock when it comes to governing. All they got is a big, shiny black guy to make Republicans not feel racist about what they're about to do. You know, it's almost like a pacifier for a bunch of crybabies who don't, you know, it's just weird. Like, I don't understand why the GOP is acting this way. Like, dog, Herschel Walker can't put two sentences together. He doesn't form an independent thought. He's not capable. And you all know it. Like, especially with the sense that he's contradicting everything that he's running on when it comes to family values, when it comes to keeping guns out of the hands of criminals, when it comes to abortion rights. Come on, man. And then his big stake on economy is to bring energy back to America. Well, I can sit here and break down all of these points individually, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just get to the substance of this. Herschel Walker is a walking hypocrite. He's a danger to America. He's a danger to his family. Like, seriously, is this the type of person that you want leading your party when you have certain values that you're supposed to uphold as a party? I'm talking to you, GOP. But I think this is what you guys want. I mean, Lindsey Graham just sat there on TV and said, we want us a big black guy to sit there and do what we gonna tell him to do. Just so everybody can know we're not racist anymore. Didn't we try that with the Obama thing, with America as a whole? Trying to say, oh, America can't possibly be racist anymore because we had a black president. I thought we went through this already, y'all. You don't win the race war by electing a black politician. That's not the play, y'all. Like, how easy do you think we are fooled? I think they tried it with the Juneteenth holiday as well, but we'll take it. But that's not what we really want. We want change. So if you want the black population to vote for you, you need to start doing the things we're asking you to do. Police reform. Come on. How hard is that? Stop killing us. That's not a big request, especially how disproportionate it is. And then we get to the system of it all. So if you have a problem with the way that your system is being ran, as far as, you know, your justice system in your local neighborhood, you got to go vote for your judges and your sheriffs and all these different county departments. You got to hit these elections up, because if you don't, nothing's going to change. We've seen it happen too many times before, and it's sad to see. Everybody think we won, especially when it comes to elections in the runoffs. When we get our ballots counted, because most of those ballots that get counted early are Democratic votes. And then we usually have this thing called the red wave, where the rest of the Republican votes come in. They usually do same-day voting. So everybody get excited about the numbers looking good until you realize not enough people really voted. So you got to get the boots on the ground, guys. Voting is already underway. But yeah, Lindsey Graham, man, you need to go do some soul searching and just stop coming on TV saying this, because you're really messing up for Herschel Walker. Because now if he did have any black voters willing to vote for him, I think you just shot that chance to hell. Because now black folks gonna sit there and look at this like, is he sitting there trying to auction this man off to the Republican Party like a slave? Because that's what I saw. It was awkward to look at. Like, if y'all guys see that video clip, it's really awkward to look at. Herschel Walker looks kind of uncomfortable. But I'm tired of feeling bad for him, man. He knows what he did. And with that, we about to get on, roll into a break. When we come back, we're going to have to touch on that story with Paul Pelosi, man. And It's pretty tough. So this is the Watchers Podcast. Keep it locked. Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Royce the Drift, the host of the Watchers. Hey, thank you for listening, by the way. I'm here to let you guys know about the network me and my brother Brian in the building. It's called the OverKast Network. We got 4 shows already, and we're just building it up for you guys. We're going to be dropping them things for you soon. Just keep your ears open. Thank you so much for listening. Hey, we're going to be back with the second half of the Watchers after this. Welcome back to the Watchers Podcast. It's your boy Royce the Drift Hardwick, your host. Hey, so before break, we were talking about Paul Pelosi. Paul Pelosi is the husband of Nancy Pelosi, the House Speaker, the majority leader of our government, of Congress. Her husband was attacked at their home in California. A man broke into their home and was screaming, "Where's Nancy? Where's Nancy?" looking for Speaker Pelosi, who was not there at the time. She was in Washington. And the husband Paul Pelosi managed to call 911, but he wasn't able, to speak to the operator. But the conversation that him and the assailant was having tipped off the operator enough to know what was going on and where to send the police or whatever. But the guy actually made contact with Pelosi. Paul Pelosi hit him across the head, fractured his skull, and the guy's being charged with, assault of the elderly, breaking in, assault with a deadly weapon, attempted murder, all of that. But this is something that I saw coming, not specifically this incident or this way it happening, but the fact that there's been political violence anyway. We got a group of Republicans right now who do nothing but spew just this violent rhetoric. Like ever since January 6th, it seems like everybody think it's cool to just attack political opponents now and put hands on. And it's starting to get bad, like real bad. They literally were at the Capitol with gallows, talking about some hang Mike Pence. I mean, all the conservative people that I've argued with this about it, they weren't really going to hang Mike Pence. Well, they tried to kill Nancy Pelosi in her own home. You don't think they got their hands on Pence, they weren't going to hang him? Let's be real with yourself. What are they going to do with those gallows? Just take pictures with them? What? Come on now. This was not a tourist visit. This was an insurrection. It was the last stage of a coup. And the faster we realize that, the less we're going to have to deal with it, because then we can stop it. I would hope. But yeah, people like Marjorie Taylor Greene and your Lauren Boeberts and, just the people that just out there making noise and just trying to get people upset. It's just a bad look, because you know how them Trump supporters get down. As soon as they put something out against someone that they don't like, it's like you're putting a hit on their head. You got to stop doing that type of rhetoric, guys, because somebody's going to get killed. And then you're going to sit there, oh, well, it wasn't violent rhetoric. It wasn't my rhetoric. And then you do this whataboutism. And you bring up this one guy who got shot. I don't even remember that story, probably because the mainstream didn't cover it as hard as they should have, but I think they did cover it extensively. If a politician gets shot, it's going to be news. But the whataboutism doesn't apply here. Because if that's the case, when do you ever see Democrats storm the Capitol to hang the vice president? It never happened. Our leader never told us to do something stupid like that. And it's getting out of control now. It's spilling over into other candidates that are literally running their campaign on believing that Donald Trump is still the president of the United States. Like, if you ask them who won the election, And if they want it fairly, they stumble. They say, well, we got to look at it. We got to look into it. Well, we had years to look into it, and we did look at it 64 times, and none of it came back conclusive. And most of the voter fraud we did find was happening on the side of Republicans. But the radicalization of the voter is what I'm concerned about right now, because now the constituents are taking up arms against the political opponents. You know, that don't fly. That's not how you run a government. That's not how you campaign. Like, I don't understand who is in charge of these Republican campaigns, but if you're whipping your people up into a frenzy, which is the minority, by the way, so most of the country don't agree with you. You're whipping them up and expecting them to literally viciously attack their political opponents. This can't keep going on, guys. Paul Pelosi, man, I hope you have a speedy recovery. But attacking our political opponents is not the way, guys. Like, you can just imagine how many times I just wanted to just slap Donald Trump. But I'm like, nah, that's not gonna do anything but make his cause even greater, make his people hate me even more. Oof, this is a tough one, guys. Like, hey, bless the comments with some comments. Let me know what y'all think about this Paul Pelosi situation. You know, it's tough once you know the voters and the fan base start attacking the opponents of you. You know, you start getting regimes, you start getting, you know, gangs of people and militias, and you start to fall apart as a country, as a democracy. We've seen it happen all over the world, and we really just have to really at this time embrace democracy and vote these people out. There's no pointing them out, screaming at them, trying to get them to change their ways. We literally have to vote them out. And if we wait too long, we won't be able to vote them out, because there won't be any more elections. They want these lifetime appointments. And the left, I don't understand why y'all can't message this to get your voters to understand what's really at stake here. But you got to get them excited for voting. I said this back in February of this year, my very first podcast I did at the Ohio Media School. I was sitting in that room and I said we need political involvement, and I touched on it. We need to get our voters excited to vote. You have to get them in the know of what's really at stake here. You know, Roe v. Wade just got turned over this year, and, you know, more people were concerned about the leak instead of the decision. And when it got snatched away from everybody, you know, we're like, oh no, what do we do? Well, there's something we can do. We can make sure that those politicians who took your rights away don't get the power to do it again, because they told you what their agenda was. Next is contraception. Next is gay rights, gay marriage. Everything's on the chopping block right now for these Republicans. So we gotta be able to talk Democrats. I just don't understand. Like, Raphael Warnock, you should have dog-walked Herschel Walker on that stage. I don't care about his feelings, because he don't care about ours. And I'm not even a Georgian. I got families down there, you know, but this ain't right. You should have dog-walked that man, exposed him for the fraud that he is, but you played it nice and civil. I respect your high road, but we got to get literally in their face to let them know, like, yo, America, listen, these people are trying to destroy your country. They literally are telling you they don't care about the values they're trying to make you follow. They think they're better. Like, it's tough to try to persuade people to get politically active, but it's even harder for me to sit there and listen to people complain about the political atmosphere in which they're living if they won't get themselves involved. It's like, I can only tell you to vote. I can show you what's going on, and if you don't take that information, I don't know what else I can do. But when you come to me with, like, hey, we got these problems, you know, I'll be your voice of amplification here. I'll tell you, you know, everybody in America what your gripe is. But when you get to saying stuff like that, I have to ask you, well, did you vote? And let's just keep it in 100, y'all. Hey, thank y'all for joining me on the Watchers Podcast. It's your boy, Royce the Hardwick. It was a little doozy today. I tried to keep it lighthearted. Had to play that clip from Obama, you know, in case people had to remember what a real politician is supposed to speak like. But once again, thank you guys, and look out for all the work coming out on the OverKast network. My Facebook is up right now under Royce Hardwick at Facebook, and it's going to show you the OverKast network. That's the one that I'm going to start putting all these content and everything like that on. So check it out every week. It's going to be something up there every day. I'm only working on it. So thank you guys for listening. It's been the Watchers Podcast, and we out.